this episode of What Not to Do, brought to you by
Mike's Got Plumbing. If water runs through it, we do it.
Holy what have you done in my kitchen?
Oh, honey, how is it? I never know when she's coming home.
What are all these pipes laying around? Why is my dishwasher in the living room, and why is the carpet all wet?
Well, remember that fancy new kitchen remodel you've always wanted?
Oh, I do, and this is not it.
But I thought I might save some money by doing it myself.
You thought wrong. I promise this is going to cost you way more. You should have called in the professionals at Mike's Got Plumbing, because I'm pretty sure when I flush the toilet, water is not supposed to come out of the sink.
Noticed that, did you?
The next thing I'm going to notice is you calling Mike's Got Plumbing like you should have done in the first place.
Yes, dear. 866-314-4443.
Yes, 866-314-4443.
That played out so differently in my head.
on next week's episode of What Not to Do.
No, not monkeys.
All right, 20 minutes after 8 o'clock. Sorry, I went a little bit long with the last segment, so our next guest had very little time to talk to us off the air. But on the air, we're going to learn something, Robin. Do you know what a 529 plan is, by the way?
No, I don't know.
You're not alone. According to the notes that were sent to me, 7 out of 10 of us here in America do not know what a 529 plan is. Danae Domian does. She's going to teach us. She is the principal of Tailored Solutions at Edward Jones. They did a survey, the annual 529 awareness survey, and it's an eye-opener, not only for them, but for us as well. And it's a way for us to save for education. Let's find out what this is. Danae Domian, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great.
And I apologize. We went long with the last segment, and then so that's the problem I had there. So thank you for being patient with us. What is a 529 plan?
Absolutely. Well, a 529 plan, given that a college education for most families is a priority for their kids because of the opportunities that it provides them post-high school, but a 529 plan is the best way to save for a college education. It's a convenient and tax-friendly way to save for college expenses, tuition, room, board, books. It's a plan that's actually named after the IRS tax code 529 that allows for them.
Oh, okay.
And while that's not significant, what is significant, it is the best way to save for college education.
Can you do that in addition to, like in Florida, we have a prepaid college plan. Is it in addition to that, or is it instead of that?
Well, it's a different way to do that. There are a lot of different ways that you can save for college, but given the tax friendliness of this, the control factor that you have, and the flexibility, which is a little bit different than the prepaid tuition plan. The flexibility that you have with a 529 plan, for example, if there's money left over in the account, you can change the beneficiary to anybody else in your family, even yourself, as well as the kind of the flexibility of the kinds of colleges in Florida, outside of Florida, 2-year college, 4-year college, vocational schools, lots of flexibility that you have with a 529 plan that you don't have with some other plans.
So I'm assuming the money would grow as opposed to putting it in a mattress?
Yeah, it's not going to grow very fast under a mattress, that's for sure. It really depends on the investments that you have in the account. So you can have a more conservative investments, which might earn a little bit more than being in the mattress, or more aggressive investments. It really just depends on how long you have to save and what you think about whether the markets go up or down, and just kind of how you feel about those kinds of things.
Well, May 29th was Save for Education Day, so this is a good thing for parents who are expecting. That way they can get everything ready before the baby is born.
That's exactly right. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that you can actually open a 529 plan and start saving for your children even before they're born. That's pretty amazing.
The cost of college is unbelievable. If I start saving today, this is way beyond me. Well, maybe I'll be a grandpa. You never know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, my son's already 30, going to be 31 next month. Holy mackerel!
Wow.
But if I had, I actually started a prepaid plan for my son, and I had to cash it out. What would happen if somebody ran into hard times? Can they cash out a 529 plan?
So you can. That's probably not ideal because there's going to be some taxes on that if you take it out and you're not using it for college expenses. But the likelihood of of somebody in your family going to using it for post-high school education is pretty high. So the flexibility of these plans to use for your family's college education, that's really what it's meant for. But you can tap into it. You'll just have to pay some taxes and penalties to do so.
So now that we know what a 529 plan is, what do we do? Do we sit down with somebody and discuss the need and take a portion of our savings and start putting it in that direction?
That's a really good start. The first thing I would ask is how much should you and can you save? And based on the fact that how important a college education is, don't wait. Start now and start the conversation, and then do consider seeking the help of a financial advisor. Something as important as properly saving for your kids' future education should be taken seriously. So that's where I would start.
And I do like the word that you used, flexibility, because sometimes a student has their heart set on going to one college and then things might not work out, so you have to have alternatives. Or maybe they change their major and another college would be more adequate for them.
That happens all the time. Absolutely.
Yeah,
so we got to think about, we got to think about that for sure.
Yeah, I think one of the drawbacks of the Florida prepaid plan is that you have to go to a Florida school, and you never know what school. Especially if you get it when your child is a baby.
Yeah.
Right. Or even a teenager, they might change their mind in a few years later on. Right. So do you? Is it typically something you put money into for like 18 years? Is that the normal, or how long do people normally put money into this?
Well, considering how fast college education costs are actually going up year over year, every year that you don't contribute, you're actually going backwards, right? Because if the cost of college is going up 6 or 10% a year, and you're not saving at a pace that's faster than that, you're actually going backwards. So, so a lot of families will just simply set up a certain dollar amount that comes out of their checking account or their savings account every month, and that way they don't see it coming out of their account. It just comes out first of the thing of the month, and they put that into the 529 plan until the children are ready to go to college.
A person goes to college and then they graduate and they're working at their profession. All of a sudden they want to go back for their master's or a doctorate. Does this help in that respect too? Can you start that late?
Absolutely. The flexibility of this account for any post-high school, vocational school, master's degree, community college, four-year college, and it can be for either for the beneficiary, and if they don't use all the money, then maybe another sibling or a mom and dad or a niece and nephew. That money can go to pay for another family member's college expenses as well.
There are two people that I want you to speak to before we say goodbye, and those are, I'm making these two people up, but they're listening, and one of them heard you say you could put money in the account for yourself, and the other one just had a child, and she wants to put money away for that baby. What's the best advice for those two people? Is it the same advice for both of them?
Start now. So if somebody that you love in the future is going to be using this money for college savings or college education, whether it's you yourself or a child or grandchild, absolutely start one today.
And is there a website you can direct them to?
We have a lot of really good information on edwardjones.com as a starting point. You'll want to do some self-educating on 529 plans and other alternatives, but that's a great place to start is edwardjones.com.
Wow. So as it gets closer in time for a student to pick a school, I'm guessing money is a big part of that. If there are scholarships, let's say a kid is doing really well, and there are scholarships that become part of the equation, I guess that just makes it easier knowing that there's money set aside. Plus the scholarships, it'll kind of make it a lot easier for everybody.
Absolutely. Isn't that something that we all want for our kids? We would love for them to get a full ride scholarship or even a partial scholarship.
Yeah, really.
Typically, that's not the norm, though. So, being in control and saving some on your own is probably a better bet.
All right. Thank you so much for being on the air, Danae, and everyone. The website is edwardjones.com. Danae Domian, thank you for being on the air with us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. A massive bombing in Afghanistan has killed scores of people, including, according to the BBC, a driver for the broadcaster, which says 4 of its journalists were hurt in the Kabul blast.
The region is home to several embassies, not too far from the president.